Hello, my name is Anna, and in this video I will show you how to create a translation engine, a translation memory, a Termbase, and a workflow in Trados Team. The first step is to create a translation memory. In this example, we will create an empty translation memory which will be populated during the process of translation. A translation memory is a database that stores all your source target segments pair in a central repository. For create a translation memory, you need to select from the main menu the tab Resources, then Linguistic Resources, then Translation Memory. Now we click on New Translation Memory on the right-hand side. Here we will add a name. We recommend that you enter a descriptive translation memory name, ideally one that reflects the language pair and possibly the subject matter, such as medical translation memory, English, French in our case. This will help you to identify the translation memory among other you create later. For the location, we will select the Bachelor of Arts in Translation and Interpretation Intake 2024. For the languages, we select the source language, in our case English, United Kingdom, and for the target, we choose French, France. We can see that in Trados Team, we can have multiple language pair. This function is not available on Trados Studio. There, for each translation memory, you can only have one source and one target. For the language processing rules and fields template drop-down list, we will leave the default item selected. Then we click on Create. And we can see that our TM is created. We will see the TM name, the language pair, the location as well as the number of units. This unit count is currently 0 because the TM that we created is empty, but it will be populated as we translate the first document, and the number of units will be updated in real time. Here we can see another TM that I created that can have 3 or several language pairs as you want. A TM can be also populated by importing an SDL TM from Trados Studio or from your PC, but you can also use a translation memory that is directly imported to the cloud from Trados Studio desktop version. Now we will pass at the Termbase creation. A Termbase is like an electronic dictionary that is searched automatically during translation. For that, we click on Resources, Linguistic Resources, Ternbases. Then we click on the right-hand side, New Termbase, and we add the name, Medical Termbase. For description, is not mandatory to have anything, but the location will be the same as for our translation memory. We click on Next. Here we leave the option create a new translation from scratch selected, and we click again in Next. For the language list, we select English, French, Italian, and Spanish, for example. Note that the languages in a Termbase are not divided into different locales as they are on a translation memory. Note that the Termbase can contain multiple languages as well as additional fields as a definition, notes, context, and grammar. In our case, we will leave it like a simple structure, and we click on Create. Like the translation memory, our newly created Termbase is empty. You can see 0 entries. While the translation memories are populated interactively during translation, the Termbase is not. Note that adding terms during translation in the way that you can do it in Trados Studio, the desktop version, is not currently possible in the web version. So if you want to have the use of Termbase in Trados Team, you need to populate the Termbase before starting the translation process. So you can do it manually by adding terms here in Trados Team. For that, we select the Termbase name. We click to open it. Here we locate the icon for new entry and we click on it. And for example, for English, we add the term doctor. Then we confirm it with this button. Then for French, we add the corresponding term. Again, the confirmation function. Then we can add the other languages to add the term. Confirm. And for Spanish, and confirm. Now, if I want, I can repeat the steps for another terms and for all the languages that the Termbase has. If I finish the work with the Termbase, I can close it. And if I do here a refresh, I will see that my Termbase has now 1 entry. You can also import content to a Termbase from Trados Studio or from your PC if you have a dictionary completed there. To be able to use the translation memory and the Termbase that we just created, we need to add them to what is called a translation engine. A translation engine is a container that can include various linguistic resources, one or more translation memories, machine translation engines, and Ternbases. To create a translation engine, we click on Resources, Linguistic Resources, Translation Engines. Here we can see that we have one for multiple language pairs, because here in Trados Team is possible, and now we will create one for our resources with the language pair English-French. We click on New Translation Engine. We put the name, Medical Translation Engine. The location will be the same as our resources. The language processing rules, we will leave the default one. And for languages, we need to have the same language as the one that we have in the translation memory. Here, English, United Kingdom, French, France. And then we scroll down to the translation memory. Here we click on Add Translation Memory. Normally here we will see all the translation memories that have the same language pairs that we choose for our translation engine. But in our case we have only one, and we select it and click on Add. We will skip the machine translation part and we go to Ternbases, click on Add Ternbases and select our created medical Termbase and choose Add. Now we click on Create to create our translation engine. Now our translation engine is created. Another resource that we need to set up is the workflow. In Resources, we click on Workflow and choose Workflow. Each project requires a workflow, which is a sequence of automated and manual tasks through which the document for translation move as you work on them. We click on New Workflow. We give the name medical workflow. The location is the same as our resources, and also the language pair need to match. So we choose English, United Kingdom, and French France. Okay. Then for the workflow template, we leave as standard translation and review. And we scroll down to the section of automated and manual tasks. The automated tasks are marked as automated on the right-hand side, and the manual tasks are marked as human. The attention that we need to give is the one for human tasks, where we need to assign at least one user in order to have our workflow work. So tasks like file detection and file format conversion are automated. Engineering is a human task, but this is excluded by default, as this is a task to be done outside Trados Team, which involves preparatory work on a file before it is converted into a translation document, a bilingual format, such as when we need to have untranslatable strings in the source file moved out before it go into translation. Then we have an automated task such as machine translation and TM matches. If matches are found in translation memory, they will be inserted into the document during the file preparation. Although in our case the TM is still empty, so no matches will be found. The files will then be submitted to a machine translation. This means that any content that has not been pre-translated by the translation memory will be handed over to a machine translation system. However, since we did not add a machine translation provider to our translation engine, in this case nothing will happen on this step. Next comes the automated analysis step. The project will be scoped, meaning that the total number of words and characters, as well as reuse notes and other calculations, are made. Next, we have a project planning step, which is a manual task. This involves project coordination, that is to say, someone deciding who is going to do the translation and the review task and by when. Now we need to click here, select an assignee. We'll put, for example, this one. Then for translation, we assign the user here. The same for the linguistic review. Okay. Then we have two automated steps. The TM is updated using the final reviewed content, and the bilingual intermediary format used by Trados for translation is converted back to the original format, such as Microsoft Office, XML, or Adobe InDesign. The final step check can be excluded to keep the workflow simple for this example, but you need to know that this step is used for taking a final look at the target files outside Trados Team before they are delivered to the customer. The last steps, name error, is mandatory and cannot be excluded. This step needs to be assigned to at least one user and is required to make sure that if something goes wrong, for example, a source file is corrupted and cannot be converted by the system, the responsible person is automatically prompted up and can intervene. If we click create, we will create our workflow. I forget to assign some tasks, so I will go back to final. Here I put myself, then the same. And for the error task again. And we click on create. Now our workflow for medical field is created.